How does a giant fall? How does a company that literally invents the future get left behind by it? This is the story of a titan that put the world in our hands and then let it slip through their fingers. To really get this, you have to go back. I mean, way back. Picture a world before app stores, before glowing touch screens were in every single pocket. A world before the iPhone. Yeah, before we carried these little supercomputers around. Before Android was a thing. A time when the word smartphone wasn't even a word. In that world, one name ruled. The pioneer. The innovator. The company that basically made it possible to say hello from anywhere. There was Motorola. So let's talk about the company that made us mobile. It's a story that doesn't start in some flashy Silicon Valley campus. Nope, it starts back in 1928. Two brothers in Chicago with this really simple but kind of revolutionary idea. Let's take communication and let's make it move. And you know, their whole mission was right there in the name they chose, Motorola. You've got motor for the car, where they put their first radios, and Victrola for the sound, motion and sound. That was their DNA, right from day one. And for decades, they were on fire. I mean, from car radios to the walkie-talkies that soldiers used in World War II. But then came 1973. This is the moment everything changes. A Motorola engineer, Martin Cooper, is walking down a New York City street, holding this brick of a device. He makes the world's first ever mobile phone call. And you want to know who he called? His biggest competitor at Bell Labs. I mean, talk about a power move. That wasn't just making a call, it was firing the starting gun on a new world. And from that one call, they built an absolute empire, from the brick to the Razr. For a long, long time, Motorola wasn't just predicting the future. They were the future. They honestly seemed unstoppable. And their climb to the top was, frankly, just stunning. In 1983, they unleashed the Dynatak. Yep, the famous brick phone. It was the status symbol. Then through the 90s, they absolutely owned the pager and flip phone game. But in 2004, oh man. In 2004, they created something that felt like perfection. The Motorola Razr. You remember it, right? It was impossibly thin, it was sleek, it was cool, and it was everywhere. They sold over 130 million of them. This wasn't just a phone, it was a piece of culture. At that moment, Motorola wasn't just leading the market. They were the market, period. But here's the thing about sitting on top of the world. Success, it can be a very dangerous thing. Because while Motorola was admiring its masterpiece, someone else was quietly building the next world. And right here, this is where our story takes a turn. The world that Motorola basically invented was about to be reborn. And they just weren't ready. So what went wrong? Well, it boils down to this. In 2007, Apple unveiled the iPhone. And all of a sudden, the game wasn't about how thin your phone was anymore. It was about what your phone could do. It was about software. But Motorola? They were blinded by their own success. They were a hardware company obsessed with making beautiful objects. When the world suddenly wanted a computer in its pocket, they were selling style when everyone else was about to start selling substance. And just like that, in what felt like a blink of an eye, the world changed. But for the first time, Motorola wasn't leading the pack. They were just watching from the sidelines as the future they helped create started to move on without them. The fall from grace was terrifyingly fast. I mean, by 2009, just 2 years later, profits had completely evaporated. New kings like Apple and Samsung were just swallowing up their market share. The ultimate innovator had become the old guard, just trying to play catch-up. By 2011, it was over. The company that had stood for so much had to be broken apart. Its famous mobile division was sold off, first to Google and then to Lenovo. The icon had become just another asset on a balance sheet. So, after all that, what's the lesson here? What can we learn from this fallen titan? Because this isn't just about one company. It's a huge, timeless warning about what it takes to survive. And it really leaves us all with one big question, doesn't it? Not just for businesses, but for any of us. What is the real cost of standing still? You see, Motorola was chasing perfection with the flip phone, but the world was demanding progress. And in that tiny gap between perfection and progress, they just vanished. When you strip it all away, their story is a lesson in one brutal rule of the modern world. A rule they once knew better than anyone, but somehow forgot. If you don't disrupt yourself, you can be sure that someone else will.
So yeah, their empire fell, but their legacy? It's undeniable. Motorola built the bridge from the old world to our world. And every single time you pick up your phone, every text you send, every call you make, you're using a piece of that legacy. They showed us what was possible, and they became a cautionary tale for what comes next. Their story is still ringing in every call we make.